Spaceboy, Chapter 23, Bot Sliding. You might remember that at the end of Chapter 22, Ruth, Yuri and Spaceboy were running away from danger, but sadly, straight into it. Let's begin. Up ahead stood a little opening in the rocks. Ruth, Yuri and Spaceboy raced through the hole and very nearly plunged to their deaths. "Halt!" shouted Ruth as they teetered at the edge of the deepest crater. It was as deep as a skyscraper is tall. "Whoa!" exclaimed a wobbly Spaceboy. If his dodgy knee gave way now, it would be the end. Yuri was not so lucky. He was running too fast on his 3 legs and 1 egg whisk and careered over the edge. The little dog began sliding down the crater. "Woof!" he barked in terror. Spaceboy grabbed the dog's egg whisk leg just in time. Yank! The alien pulled Yuri back to safety. "Thank you," said Ruth. "I have grown rather fond of the little fellow," said Spaceboy. "And he has of you." Yuri began nuzzling up against Spaceboy's leg to say thank you. Craters like this were dotted all over the desert. Most had been caused by meteors hitting Earth thousands or even millions of years ago. This one was so vast that it looked as if it had been created by the moon falling out of the sky. It was perfectly round, however, which aroused suspicion. What's more, there was a bare tree trunk standing tall at the very bottom of the crater. This was deep in the desert. There weren't any trees for miles around. Let's have a look at the crater. There it is. It's quite large, isn't it? I think it's round, and it's as if the moon's impacted it. And there they are. Ooh, let's try to focus on the edge. Ooh, there you go. It's enormous, isn't it? Let's pan down. Best not fall. And there's the tree at the bottom. There weren't any trees for miles around. While Ruth was pondering all this, she heard footsteps behind her. Looking over her shoulder, she spotted the faceless figures a few steps away from them. Their arms were outstretched, ready to grab them. "There's no going back now," said Ruth. "We can only go forward." "It's too dangerous," boomed Spaceboy. "It is me they want. Let me give myself up." "Never! I know what they will do with you. An alien from another world. Experiments and all sorts." She turned to the 2 faceless figures behind them. "Am I right?" The faceless figures nodded. "But we can't go forward," remarked Spaceboy. "Look!" He pointed at a sign to their side that read, "Extremely dangerous danger. Keep out. Don't even think about it. Really. Go away now before you die." "We have no choice," said Ruth. "We will have to do some butt sliding. Here goes." With that, she took Spaceboy by the hand and Yuri by the paw. Just as the faceless figure's hands clutched at them, she leaped off the ledge, swinging her companions with her. "Ah!" the 3 cried as they found themselves sliding into the crater on their bottoms. Whoosh! At first, the walls of the crater were all but vertical. It was like free falling. Then they began to slide as the walls of the crater curved. "My space bot is overheating!" yelled Spaceboy. Sparks were flying off his silver suit. Sizzle, sazzle, suzzle. There's the sparks flying off his silver suit. They are indeed sliding on their bottoms. The crater was surprisingly smooth, so the 3 travelled at the speed of lightning. Whiz! Plumes of red dust shot up into the air behind them. Whoomph! Ruth looked round to see what their bottoms had rubbed the dust off the crater, A silver surface was revealed underneath in 3 long butt-sized streaks. No wonder it felt so smooth, and they were travelling so fast. This was no ordinary crater. This was metal. It was man-made. Just as Ruth was taking this in, she realized they were heading straight for the tree trunk. At any moment, they were going to twang! Too late. They had hit the tree hard. That, too, was metal. The force of the blow knocked some of the plastic bark off the tree. Crumble! As the 3 found themselves in a dusty heap at the bottom of the crater, Ruth realized where they were. "This is no crater. Look! It must be a giant radar dish," she exclaimed. "You are right, Ruth," agreed Spaceboy. "Woof!" added Yuri. Looking up, they spotted that there were now hundreds of faceless figures lining the rim of the radar dish. "We are done for," said Ruth. "There must be a way to escape," said Spaceboy. "I'm so sorry. This was a bad idea. We should have stayed and fought," said Ruth. "Against this army?" Just then, the 3 felt the floor sliding underneath them. A gap was opened and whoosh! The 3 plunged down it. Arch! Woof! Woof! That takes us on to Chapter 24, An Intergalactic Car Wash, which we'll read next.